Hello everyone and welcome to the Java tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be explaining to you about variables and data types. So in the previous video I explained about how to download Eclipse IDE. IDE is an integrated development environment, and I also showed you how to run your first program, that is your Hello World program. So in this video I'm going to be talking about variables and data types. So to start off, what are variables? Variables are anything that store data for processing. What does that mean? So, in any programming language, to run a program or write any program, information or data is really important. So, data is information, and information is any values or anything that you might input actually. So, information includes numbers or decimals, sentences or words, anything like that. So even 45, that is a number, is a information, is a data, and it's a value. And even a sentence, that is this is ceddarCoder channel, this is an information or data type. It's a data actually. So these are data, this is data actually. So variables are anything that store data for processing. So variables are the place where the data is stored. Okay, so the reference to where you store data is known as variables, and all variables have names. So the location where data has stored has a particular name. Like, if you consider us humans to be objects, or we can say for particular from people from any country to be objects, so you can say that we are stored or located in a particular place, that is a country, that is India. So the name of the place is India. So like that, all variables or the locations where data is stored have names. Variables also have types, which are known as data types, because variables store data, so they have types which are known as data types. Some examples of data types are integers, double data types, string data types. String is sentences or any words, double is decimals, integer type is, you all know, positive and negative numbers including 0. So let's move on to data types. Data types are of two: primitive and derived. So here you can see this chart over here, which shows the segregation of data types clearly. So there are two data types: primitive data types, non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types are also known as derived data types because they are based on primitive data types. So primitive data types are 8 in number. They are byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and boolean. So boolean is true or false values. Boolean is a data type that has only two values, true or false. It's like a binary number, 0 or 1, true or false. So first is byte. Byte is used for like 2-digit numbers or 3-digit numbers. Short is used for smaller numbers like up to 5 digits. Int is used for a little larger numbers like up to 7 digits. Long is used for numbers like mobile numbers or numbers with more digits. Float is for decimal numbers which have decimals like 7.9. This is a float data type. Float and double both are for decimals. So float can store up to, I think, 4 decimal points, and double a bit more than that. And char is for character or any symbol. So anything you find on the keyboard, like the numbers 1, 2, 3, or any symbols like parenthesis, the asterisk, modulus, or at the rate, or any letters, these are all symbols. So these are stored in single quotes in the char data type. Next is boolean. So I told you that boolean was true or false. Next come non-primitive data types. They are array, class, enums. So these non-primitive data types will be discussed in the later classes. It's not for now. Okay, now let's move on to primitive data types. A primitive data type specifies the size and type of the variable values, and it has no additional methods. So like I said, a primitive data type only specifies the size and type of the variable values. So the type was the byte, short, int, or numeric type, and string type. These are the types. And size is byte is for a particular size, short is for a particular size, int is for a particular size of numeric data type. So like this. And it has no additional methods. Like if you go to arrays will have some additional methods like array.length or array.map, array.filter. These are the functions for arrays. So those are for non-primitive data types, so that is classes, enums, and arrays, etc. So for the primitive data types, there are 8 primitive data types in Java. I've told you byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char. Okay, that's for primitive data types. Next is derived data types. Derived data types or non-primitive data types are also known as reference data types because they don't store the value but a reference to that value. So like array is a set of values. So array does not have a single value. It does not store a single value, but it stores a reference to that value. It stores like a set of values. So reference types can be class, interface, or array variables. And they are more sophisticated members of the data type family because they are derived from primitive data types that are the basic ones, and they have additional functions to them, like additional methods. The key points are the important points in derived data types are the default value of any reference variable is null. So like when you create an array, its value will be null. So null means no value at all. If you take primitive data types, they have some value, like int's default value is 0, char's value is something else, like that, default values. Whenever you will pass a non-primitive data type to a method, you are actually passing an address of the object where data is stored. So as I explained earlier, the non-primitive or reference data types, they don't store the values, they store the reference. And what is reference? The address of the data. So whenever you pass a non-primitive data type to a method, like if you accept it in a method like for a parameter, you are actually passing an address of that object or the data type or that variable instead of the actual values. Okay, now let's declare these data types and see them in the Eclipse IDE. So let's open Eclipse. This is the Eclipse IDE. I told you in the earlier class. Okay. So this is the Hello World program which I explained to you in the earlier class. Let's be using that same program, or no, let's create a new class actually. src new class. In this class we're gonna name it data types. Okay. I told you super class is java.lang.object. That means these methods that are used in the default functions are from java.lang package. So let's use public static void main and inherited abstract methods. So let's create the class data types, and here is the class data types. Remove the comment. Okay, let's see. So let's see the data types that I told you. Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. So let's declare all of them. I'll show you how to declare them. Let's create byte and short first. We'll be rarely using these values, but they are important to know. So for creating them, firstly we need the data type, that is byte, and we need to give it a name. Let's give it byt equals, we need to assign some value to that. Let's give it the value of 24 and semicolon, because all statements end with a semicolon in Java. Next we should declare short. So data type, that is short, give it a name, that is sht. Now we need to assign some value to that. We'll give it a value of 2400 and semicolon. Next is int. Name of int, we'll give it in. Give the name of int as in, and we have to give it a value. Let's give it somewhere around 6-digit value, 6543021 semicolon. This is int. Now long, as I specified, long and lame for long, lng. Long, as I specified, is used for really large numbers, like with really large amount of digits, like for a mobile number. Let's give some mobile number, 9-digit mobile number. If I said, let's see how many digits. 3, 2, 6, 7, 5. No. 3. Okay. And a semicolon. That is long. Some mobile number. It's a random number. Don't try to call it, because it's a random number. Next, let's see next. We have done with byte, short, int and long. Next is float and double. As I told you, float and double are decimal values. We will declare them the same way that we declared all the other numeric data types. Float fl equals, we need to give it some value. Let's give it 35.545. Okay. 35.54. What's wrong? Okay. There's some problem with this. Let's go with double. Double db equals 35.56789 and a semicolon. That is the two decimal values. I don't know what's wrong with float. Next we go to the char. So char should be mentioned in single quotes, as I told. So give it a name for char, chr equals, in single quotes for char always. We'll give it some symbol g and a semicolon to end the statement. Next was boolean, I guess. Boolean. This is the last one. Boolean b equals, as I told, this can have two values, true or false. The default value is false always. So let's give it true and semicolon. So these are the 8 primitive data types. I'll be talking about the non-primitive data types, that are arrays and classes, in the upcoming classes, not now. So let's print all of them now. As I told you, print statement is system dot out dot println bracket semicolon. So I'll show you how to print some variable. So for printing by this byte, we have to call it with this name. What we have given over here, we have given it byte byt. So we call it by the name byt. Next, let's copy this whole statement and make a 7 copies. So control 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Okay, there are 8 over here. We have printed byt, that is the byte value. Now we have to print the short value, that is sht. Next we have to print the integer value, that is in. Next the long value lng. Next is the float value fl. Next is the double value db. Next is the character value chr. And next, last is the boolean value b. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, yeah, so it prints all the values. Let me just expand this. 24, 2400, 6, 543210, 86 some mobile number, 35.0 as I told decimal value, 35.56789 what we gave, the G for the character and true for the boolean. So that is the variables and data types. In the next session I'm going to be explaining about comments and some math functions. Math functions are inbuilt functions in Java, which are imported directly in the java.lang package. Show you how to import that package separately, taking input and all that. So that's it for this class. Hope you understood something from this class. Thank you. If you found the video to be helpful, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you have any suggestions, please comment them down below in the comment box. Thank you.